Hey, it's your spiritual coach, Kaisa Koskinen. My question for you today is that, do you want to be safe or do you want to be happy? What is the number one thing you think in your life is making you unhappy? What's the cause of your, the root cause of your happiness? Whatever comes to your mind, that's the best bet. Let me guess, it has something to do with circumstances or other people. Both things that are kind of outside of yourself. The circumstances you are in right now or the other people's actions. They are out of your reach. You cannot really change them in a blink of an eye. Maybe you are thinking that this is not the life you signed up for. Your life does not look the way you want it to look. And that's bringing you unhappiness. In my own path, it took me years to realize that, first of all, when I used to work in business life, in an insurance company, in a bank, I always blamed my work for my unhappiness. And on those times when I was really excited and in the flow with my work, I blamed my unhappiness because of my relationship status. I was single, and I saw all these people around me getting married and just being in love, and I always felt bad that I don't have that. So I was comparing my life to other people's life. And it was so easy to project my unhappiness to my work or to the relationship status or to my weight. Whatever it was, I always projected it outside of myself. And it took me a long time, even though it's pretty simple now that I see it now, but it took me a long time to realize that those things were never the sources of my unhappiness. Because the unhappiness was always inside of me. And what I mean by this is that I was trying to chase something that kind of like something that you try to chase and it just it's almost there, but you cannot quite reach it. So you are always little behind. So you try to go further, just to chase that one thing that you think is going to bring you happiness the next. And this is how goals work also. That we set up these goals and we think that once I reach that goal, whatever it is, then I will be happy. But once you are in that goal, you reach the goal you have set for yourself, maybe you feel good about it for 5 minutes, but then in 10 minutes, you will have a new goal. Because that's how mind operates. It makes us, it tries to make us just push ourselves all the time to the next something, to the next happy place. And maybe by this age you have realized that it doesn't really work, that maybe you're exhausted about chasing things and chasing that happiness. And only thing you have noticed is that you feel unhappy and empty inside. And that was my experience as well. I felt empty inside and there was a hole in me, this big black hole that I just whatever I did, wherever I traveled, whatever, how much money I got, whatever I was experiencing, it only brought this sense of fulfillment maybe for 2 minutes. But after that 2 minutes, the fulfillment feeling was gone. And I came to realize that the main reason for this, all those, because the unhappiness was in me. So all those things that I tried to chase it from was actually, they were all outside of myself. So I needed to start tapping into me, into myself. And I felt unhappy because I was not living truthfully to myself. I was not living from my heart's desires. My heart, my inner being, my core being wanted me to live a different kind of life. And in my path, that happened to be me coaching and me having my own company and get to decide whatever I do and wherever from the world I want to do it. And once I started to do that, once I started to do that, then, that hole inside, that black hole inside of me started to fill up. And it doesn't mean to you that you need to change career, but it can be in any area of life. Like, just to me, it was related to work, and also related to relationship status, because I've been in many relationships during my life. And I have learned that even though I am in the relationship, I can still feel unhappy. So if that would be the reason that if I'm in or out of relationship, if that would be reason for my unhappiness, then obviously every time I'm in a relationship, I should not never feel unhappy. So kind of like that bubble busted in that way, in that sense. So we need to try to find those inner motivational factors and start living from our core, start listening to our heart's desires, whatever they are, and start implementing them little by little to your life. And that's how you start. More your life starts to look like what your heart desires, the happier you will start to feel. More fulfilled. I don't even care about happiness. I think anyone can be happy anytime. Happiness is easy. But the sense of feeling fulfilled and sense of feeling that that your life really looks like your inner being. And obviously that takes time. It's not like, tomorrow your life will just be completely different if, for example, if you decide to quit your work or end or start a relationship or whatever it is for you. So it doesn't operate like that. It takes time, and that's one of the things we don't usually give ourselves. We don't understand that it might take 12 to 18 months, 6, 12, 18 months for our life to get aligned to our true being, to our heart's desires. So give yourself time with that also. I started with, do you want to be safe or do you want to be happy? And why I'm talking about safety is that we are so scared of taking those leaps of faith that our heart is kind of guiding us to do, that we keep on being unhappy because we are too afraid to take that leap of faith. And I understand this. I was so scared to take that leap of faith for many years. And whatever it is for you, for me it was like getting out of that 8 to 4 work wagon. That was my biggest fear, that I would lose my monthly income. And now that I've been an entrepreneur for 4 years, and the ride has been quite interesting, if I could say, such an amazing learning experience about myself and about my own negative beliefs, and all these things that have come up and come to surface during this journey. But it's so perfect because once you start taking those leaps of faith and start taking steps towards your heart desires, you will start to realize that more you live from your heart, more aligned you live with your true being and from your core, and more your life will start to look like your true essence and your true heart desire. You will learn that, and you will see and experience that you don't need whatever your safety thing is. If it's money, if it's whatever it is, if it's love, whatever it is. Because you will learn that it comes from you all the time. You have access to it at all times. And you will start to have that faith, because your connection to yourself is so strong that in your heart as well, just like in your mind, that whatever happens is supposed to happen and is perfect. So if you start a business, I'm just giving these work examples because that they are so familiar to me. So for example, if my business goes busted and I go in complete bankrupt, then I can embrace that too, because that's teaching me something, and that will shift me into something new. And it's just the mind that is playing these tricks, like money tricks or love, like I need to do this to be loved, or I need to do this, that, you know, to get that monthly paycheck. Yeah, like don't jump right into whatever your heart wants you to jump into in like one day. Give it time and start with little changes. Start you know, doing that shift and doing that alignment. And you know, maybe a year from now your life will look completely different, just like my life looks completely different than it did a year ago. So you get to decide, do you want to be happy or do you want safety? And being happy and experiencing happiness, or I would say fulfillment in your heart, it needs for you to start listening, start connecting to yourself and start listening to yourself. What are your heart's desires? And then you start little by little taking steps towards those things. And then your life starts to shift. And that's my guidelines about this topic for you today. So just enjoy the ride and know that you are always supported and you can never do anything wrong. And even though you would not have enough courage today or this week or next month to start taking the bigger leaps of faith, but eventually, like, the seed is there and you will start little by little working towards whatever your heart desires. Have a beautiful day.